It's time to start talking about the new Xbox. I know that might sound a little crazy, like, Ray, the Series X and S just released like 4 years ago. Feels like just the other day. Ray, I just got my Series X. What are you doing talking about the next-gen one? Well, there's been a lot of rumors about what Microsoft is cooking up as far as their next-gen gaming machine. But what if we lived in a world where Microsoft wasn't the only one making Xboxes? What's up, y'all? I'm Ray, and this is my channel, Xbox Ready, where we talk everything going on in the world of Xbox. And today we're going to be talking about something that Jez Corden, Mr. Windows Central himself, said the other day on Twitter. He said the next Xbox has a heavy Windows slant and will be a reference device for manufacturers making devices like the Asus ROG Ally, most likely. Like Surface Pro 11 is a reference device for AI PCs. The way I interpret this is that Microsoft, Xbox, they would hand out their own endorsement or certification to other manufacturers that wanted to put their own spin on the console. Kind of like what they do now for people who make third-party Xbox controllers. They're like, okay, if your controller has a certain shape, it has certain features, and is compatible with the Xbox console experience, you get a little sticker that says officially licensed Xbox product or something like that. It could also be a situation where they just say, hey, if your device is capable of running this Xbox OS PC console hybrid, then we'll go ahead and partner with you, endorse you, whatever. Now, there are a few caveats to this. Of course, this is just a rumor right now, and at this point, Jez Corden has probably already deleted the tweet. He's also pretty much the only gaming journalist that I'm seeing talk about this. There has been a lot of rumors saying that the next-gen Xbox is going to be more of like a PC console hybrid ever since Phil Spencer came out and was like, yeah, I would love the Epic Game Store on Xbox. That would be cool. But this is the first time that we're hearing anything about Xbox being a reference device or Xbox lending out their name to other manufacturers. I have my own kind of questions in regards to whatever this new Xbox PC hybrid would be. Number one being, what would the operating system look like? Jez is over here saying that it would be mostly Windows or a Windows slant, but Xbox and Microsoft, they have to know at this point that the general consensus in the gaming community is that people don't really mess with like Windows gaming, and over the years their Xbox app for PC has been heavily criticized. So some sort of console Windows gaming system, that's not going to work. It has to be like an Xbox OS, some sort of Xbox dashboard experience. We know that they're tweaking the Windows Xbox gaming experience for other platforms, like what they were just doing with compact mode for this May update. So maybe in their journey of tweaking the Xbox experience for the ROG Ally or Xbox Cloud Gaming, they can arrive at a really cool system to use for this next-gen Xbox. This video is brought to you by PDS Debt. When I was a kid, I used to have nightmares about scary stuff, zombies chasing me, tidal waves crushing me, sinking into quicksand, but now I'm in my 30s and I have nightmares about debt. I wish I were joking, but I literally woke up from a dream the other night where I missed my credit card payment and got slapped with a huge late fee and a ton of interest. Dealing with debt can be overwhelming, and it's not really something that you talk about because it can be embarrassing, especially if you keep making payments and that balance just isn't going down. And if you need help getting your finances under control, PDS Debt is here for you. With PDS Debt, you can consolidate and refinance your loans so you can have just one low monthly payment, which would save you a ton of money in interest over the life of the loan. Everyone that has $10,000 or more in debt, whether it's credit cards, personal loans, collections, or your medical bills, qualifies. And there's no minimum credit score requirement. If you need help wrangling your debt and you want to see why PDS Debt has such a high rating on the Better Business Bureau, you can go to pdsdebt.com/xboxready to get your free debt analysis. It only takes like 30 seconds. Thanks again to PDS Debt for sponsoring this video. I'm also a little bit worried that this Xbox PC hybrid would be a little bit more expensive than what we see from traditional gaming consoles. When they say we're going to deliver the biggest leap in console generation history, does that mean the prices are going to leap as well? Especially because if this is going to be more like a PC, we know how PCs are priced, especially good ones, and they can get pretty expensive. We'll talk more about this later in the video, but this could be the make or break thing for this Xbox PC hybrid, the price. I think conservatively, the limit on what fans are willing to pay for is top $600. And even that might be pushing it a little bit. As much as people try to push PC gaming, like, oh, buy a PC, ditch consoles, PC supremacy. What makes console gaming so much more appealing to a lot of people out there is the price difference. It's expensive to get a PC. Whereas for a console, especially especially if you buy Series S, you pay like $250 and you can get to playing whatever you want, or mostly whatever you want. But if Xbox comes out and they're like, we have the super technologically advanced console, it's $750. I don't think a lot of people are going to spring for that, especially with a lot of questions surrounding their brand right now. You have to take into account the people who are sitting there thinking with all these recent Xbox moves, should I wait to buy a PlayStation 6, considering that a bunch of games from Xbox Game Studios are eventually going to make their way over to PlayStation anyway, or that's what it's looking like. So it'll be interesting going forward to see if Xbox can make good on their promise to deliver these huge technical leaps while keeping the price competitive. And already in reaction to this news, I see a lot of people saying like, why would they do this? Why would they let the PlayStation 6 run rampant on the gaming industry? They're going to be able to do whatever they want since Xbox is like bowing out. And the truth of the matter is, Xbox kind of has to have a come to Jesus moment. Like they've had the past 2 generations to figure it out and they keep getting outsold by PlayStation. But to me, launching an Xbox that would be meant to be a direct competitor to the PS6 would be the definition of insanity. A weird PC console hybrid is a lot less crazy than running it back for a 3rd generation. Also, making an entirely new Xbox would put Microsoft in the same position it was in 2020, wherein developers had to make 5 different versions of an Xbox game if they wanted to ship on the platform. An Xbox One version, an Xbox One X version, a Series X and S version, and a PC version. Making an Xbox console that can run PC games would eliminate that problem entirely. Basically, if you're Microsoft, you have to ask yourself, like, how can I mitigate the risk going into this next generation of gaming? We spent the last 2 generations being outsold by our direct competitors. We've invested a ton of money into these consoles and we're not really seeing the return that we want. And perhaps some sort of Xbox PC is the answer, but it is a huge gamble. Obviously, it's a radical departure from how Microsoft has handled their gaming division in the past when it comes to hardware. And it's either boom or bust. It could either be the coolest thing ever or it can be a complete flop. On one end, I personally believe that interest in PC gaming is growing, but not everyone wants to deal with building their own rig, compiling shaders. Maybe people just want to hang out on the couch still and play on their TV like a traditional console. And by offering a hybrid system, something that lives between a traditional console and a PC, they can still cater to the people who want to chill on their couch, play on a TV, a more casual crowd that wants a more easy, straightforward plug-and-play experience, while opening up their system to things that are appealing to more hardcore gamers, like multiple storefronts, mods, emulators, stuff that you can only really experience on a PC. And the Steam Deck already kind of proves that there is a market for that. With the Steam Deck, Valve was like, hey, you want a way to play Steam games but don't want to blow a bunch of money on a PC and a monitor? Here's a thing that you can just start playing Steam games right out the box. And if you really, really want to, you can dock it to a monitor and have like a traditional, straightforward PC gaming experience. That's a thing of its own, right? It's a handheld, it's a very niche product still. Xbox wants mainstream success. And that's ignoring the fact that Valve already tried this with the Steam machine, and it flopped. So if Xbox decides to go this route that Jez Corden is saying, it's more of a Windows device, more of like a mini PC, here's what they need to do in order to avoid the same fate as the Steam machine. Now, right at the gate, I believe Microsoft has an advantage over Valve when it comes to Xbox's brand recognition. Xbox is something that, at least in the US, people commonly associate with having in an entertainment system. Like if I were to go up to my dad and be like, hey, you should buy a Steam machine for your like entertainment system, he'd be like, what the f is Steam? But if I was like, hey, you should get an Xbox, he'd be like, oh yeah, I know that. A huge chunk on whether or not this is successful for Xbox depends on if they can get other companies to play nice. And that's kind of risky. You see, if I was in charge of this next gen Xbox, if I was in charge of marketing it especially, I would drop this whole focus on, oh, it's going to be the biggest leap in console generation history. We've already seen Xbox focus on the graphics, the performance, the power of a console when it comes to marketing with the Series X, and it didn't do anything. They had that whole campaign for the world's most powerful console, and the Series S outsold the Series X at the end of the day. I'm not saying people don't care about graphics or performance or good-looking games. No. But I don't think it's enough people to make it worth it for Xbox to be like, yes, let's cater our entire marketing strategy, this entire console towards those people. No, if I was in charge and if this thing really is some sort of console PC hybrid, I would focus way more on the utility. And no, I'm not talking Xbox One utility of, oh, you can play games, you can watch movies with your console, you can work out with your Xbox One and the Xbox Connect. No. None of that. Utility when it comes to gaming. It would be way cooler to me if Xbox came out for this next gen console and was like, listen, this is the last gaming machine that you're ever gonna need. It can play Xbox games, it can play Steam games, it can play PlayStation games that come to Steam. You can put emulators on it and play friggin' Nintendo games if you want to, like you can in dev mode on your Series X. That sounds way cooler to me than, oh my gosh, this is the biggest technical leap in a console generation ever. The graphics look crazy. I mean, that would be cool too, but the other stuff sounds cooler to me. They would also have to maintain the part of the consoles that is actually really appealing for most of the gaming community, and that's maintaining its ease of use. Plug it into your TV, play the games, no other fuss, no other issues. They can't go ahead and just abandon the traditional console gaming market entirely, because I'd venture to say that's like 60-70% of their fan base. I see the analytics on my channel. I know that most of you are like my age, 30s to older. So it's like, how do you keep those fans in your ecosystem, keep those fans happy while also bringing in new customers? And if they play it right, this device that is kind of like an Xbox, kind of like a PC, could fit that perfectly. It can even offer you room to grow. Like if you take more of an interest in some of the more PC side of things, you want to go beyond just like the traditional, oh, turn on your console, play a game, you can experiment with that. But going back to what Jez Corden was saying with the whole reference machine, other people like Asus would be able to make their own Xboxes as well. If that's really the case, if that's what they're going to be doing next generation, we could have an infinite number of possibilities when it comes to Xbox hardware. Maybe Microsoft comes out and they're like, okay, here's like a $500 to $600 console you can buy. It's like the entry-level experience. And then someone like Asus or Alienware or any other tech company can come out and say, hey, we have an Xbox too. It's more expensive. It's like $1,000, but it's more of a premium experience. It has X, Y, and Z. It has updated specs. And then someone else comes out and says, hey, we have like a super cheap version of the Xbox. It's like $200 to $300. It is like the most basic experience, but it'll still run the Xbox OS and play Xbox games. I highly doubt that Microsoft, for whatever their next Xbox is going to be, is going to include an optical disc drive. With the direction that they've been going in the past few months, the past few years, it's just seeming like they're gonna ditch the disc drive. They shut down their physical games release division. A lot of their first-party games don't even have physical discs anymore, like Hi-Fi Rush and Hellblade 2. But even if the first-party next-gen Xbox doesn't have a disc drive, that doesn't mean that another company can't come along and offer a disc drive in their version. We can start to see a renaissance of Xbox handheld gaming. At one point, we were asking for it, begging for it. We could be heading towards a future where there's like multiple options on the market. If the next Xbox is more like a PC, that could also technically future-proof your console hardware. In the past, it was like, oh, eventually Xbox is gonna cut off support for the 360, for the Xbox One. Eventually, studios are gonna stop making games for the Series S, the Series X. But if you have a console that plays PC versions of the game, that's gonna be around for forever. Companies aren't gonna stop making PC versions of their games. It's just not gonna happen. And speaking of the future-proof part of your PC gaming experience, maybe that can transfer over to whatever this mystery machine is for Xbox. Maybe it can be a modular experience. In a traditional PC tower, you have the freedom to swap out parts, upgrade them. It would be really cool to see that interchangeable modular nature come to our Xbox console. And maybe we can finally get a way to upgrade our storage without buying really expensive specific Seagate cards. Anyways, guys, that's all the Xbox stuff I have to talk about today. Thanks so much for joining me for another edition of Xbox Ready. If you like my content, if you like Xbox, hell, if you made it this far into the video and you're still watching, consider subscribing. The Xbox Showcase is in a couple of weeks. My buddy Jimmy is coming back into town to hit up Summer Games Fest, IGN Live, and the Xbox Showcase, so stay tuned for more updates on that. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.